Hello there, and welcome to Cosmic Slumber, where we drift through the universe's most peaceful mysteries. Tonight, we're embarking on a gentle journey to worlds beyond our own, exploring the quiet wonders of alien life that might exist among the stars. These aren't tales of invasion or conflict, but rather soothing possibilities that remind us how vast and beautiful the cosmos truly is. From microbes floating in the methane lakes of distant moons to gentle giants drifting through the clouds of gas planets, the universe may be filled with life forms so extraordinary they seem like dreams. Some might exist in ways we can barely imagine, thriving in conditions that would seem impossible to us, yet finding their own perfect harmony with their alien worlds. As we explore these cosmic possibilities tonight, you might find your thoughts wandering or your eyelids growing heavy. That's perfectly natural. These ideas are meant to wash over you like gentle waves, carrying you toward rest while filling your mind with wonder about the infinite possibilities that await discovery in the depths of space. If you enjoy these peaceful journeys through science and space, feel free to like and subscribe or simply share your thoughts in the comments below. It helps others find their way to these tranquil explorations too. But for now, let your breathing slow and your mind open to the serene possibilities of life beyond Earth. Let's begin our gentle drift through the cosmos. Life might exist in the eternal darkness of underground seas. Beneath the frozen surfaces of distant moons, vast oceans could stretch for hundreds of miles, never touched by sunlight. These hidden waters, kept liquid by the gravitational pull of giant planets, might harbor creatures that have never known the concept of day or night. In these perpetual depths, life could have evolved in ways that seem almost magical to us. Imagine organisms that create their own light through gentle biochemical reactions, painting the dark waters with soft, pulsing glows. These alien beings might communicate through patterns of bioluminescence, speaking in a language of living light that dances through the black depths like underwater auroras. Some could be as delicate as jellyfish, drifting through their lightless world with translumer, with their lucent bodies that shim own inner radiance. The chemistry of these alien seas might be unlike anything on Earth. Instead of salt water, these oceans could be rich with ammonia, methane, or exotic compounds that create entirely different possibilities for life. Creatures might exist that breathe these alien substances as naturally as we breathe air, their bodies perfectly adapted to conditions that would seem utterly foreign to terrestrial life. In such places, evolution might have taken paths we can barely comprehend. Without the pressure of predators or the cycle of seasons, life could develop in remarkably peaceful ways. Imagine vast colonies of filter-feeding organisms that work together like living cities, each individual contributing to the whole while living in perfect harmony with their neighbors. Some alien worlds might be covered in endless warm rains. Picture planets where gentle precipitation falls constantly from thick, nurturing clouds, creating surfaces that are neither fully land nor sea, but something beautifully in between. On these rain worlds, life could exist in forms that blur the boundaries between plant and animal, flowing and changing with the rhythms of the eternal weather. These rain-soaked worlds might be home to organisms that live partially in the sky and partially on the ground, their forms stretching between the two realms like living bridges. They could spend their days filtering nutrients from the falling droplets while their roots or root-like structures spread through the perpetually moist soil below. The constant gentle rain would create a soothing soundscape that never ends, a planetary lullaby that has played for millions of years. The atmosphere of such worlds might be thick with moisture and rich with organic compounds, creating a kind of aerial soup where microscopic life forms drift like living clouds. These aerial organisms could form vast networks that span entire continents, sharing resources and information through chemical signals carried on the endless rain. Life on these worlds might know no concept of drought or scarcity. Every creature would be adapted to abundance, living in a state of constant, gentle nourishment. Competition might be rare or non-existent, replaced by cooperation and mutual support as the natural way of being. Crystalline life forms could grow like living gems on silicon worlds. On planets where the primary building blocks of life are silicon and other metals rather than carbon, entirely different forms of existence might emerge. These beings could grow slowly over centuries, adding layers to themselves like trees adding rings, creating bodies that are part organism and part mineral. Imagine creatures that look like walking gardens of precious stones, their bodies composed of naturally occurring crystals that have somehow achieved the spark of life. These silicon-based beings might communicate through vibrations that travel through their crystalline structures, creating music that sounds like wind chimes made of starlight. Their reproduction could be a process of beautiful simplicity. When ready, a parent organism might simply split off a perfectly formed smaller version of itself, like a geode opening to reveal a new crystal formation inside. These offspring could then spend decades or centuries slowly growing and developing, accumulating knowledge and wisdom along with their increasing size and complexity. On worlds where the geology itself is alive, entire mountain ranges might be single organisms, thinking and dreaming over geological timescales. What we might see as a beautiful crystal formation could actually be the equivalent of a bustling city with countless individual crystal beings working together in harmony that spans millennia. Gas giant clouds might host floating ecosystems unlike anything on Earth. High in the atmospheres of massive planets, where the pressure is just right and the chemistry is rich with possibilities, entire biospheres could exist that never touch solid ground. These aerial ecosystems might be populated by creatures that are essentially living balloons, maintaining their buoyancy through biological processes we can barely imagine. These floating life forms could range from microscopic organisms that drift in vast clouds to massive creatures that soar through the upper atmosphere like living airships. The larger beings might be gentle giants, filtering nutrients from the thick atmosphere while providing shelter and resources for countless smaller organisms that live within or upon their bodies. The weather patterns of these gas worlds could create migration routes that span the entire planet. Floating creatures might follow the winds and currents, traveling in great seasonal journeys that take them around their world and back again. These migrations could be so ancient and regular that they've become part of the planet's very identity, creating patterns visible from space. In the deeper layers of these atmospheres, where pressure creates liquid zones within the gas, there might be aerial lakes where floating creatures gather to reproduce or simply to rest. These suspended bodies of liquid could serve as oases in the sky, meeting places where different species of aerial life come together in peaceful coexistence. Methane-based life might thrive in conditions that seem impossibly cold to us. On hover worlds where temperatures around -300 degrees Fahrenheit, liquid methane could serve the same role that water does on Earth. Creatures adapted to these frigid conditions might move with dreamlike slowness, their metabolism operating at a pace that makes every action deliberate and graceful. These methane beings could have evolved senses we can't even imagine, perhaps detecting the subtle variations in temperature and chemical composition that would be invisible to us. Their world might seem utterly still to our perception, but to them, it could be full of activity and communication happening on timescales that stretch across what we would consider seasons or years. The landscape of such worlds might be painted in hues of orange and brown, with rivers and lakes of liquid methane meandering through terrain, sculpted by eons of slow, cold chemistry. Life forms here might build structures from frozen organic compounds, creating cities that look like intricate ice sculptures but are actually thriving communities. These cold world inhabitants might reproduce through processes that seem almost magical, perhaps creating offspring by gradually assembling them from the raw materials in their environment, like artists sculpting life from the very substance of their world. Tide-locked worlds could host life in the eternal twilight zone, on planets that always keep the same face toward their star, creating permanent day and night sides. The most interesting life might exist in the border region between these extremes. In this eternal twilight, temperatures would be moderate and conditions stable, creating a perfect environment for peaceful, contemplative forms of existence. Creatures in these twilight zones might be adapted to the soft, unchanging light that filters through their atmosphere. They could have evolved to be incredibly sensitive to subtle variations in their environment, living lives of quiet contemplation where small changes carry great meaning. These twilight worlds might be home to organisms that exist in perfect balance with their surroundings, never taking more than they need and never creating waste. Their entire ecosystem could be a closed loop of gentle exchange, where every breath out becomes nourishment for another being and every waste product becomes a gift to the community. The boundary between the hot and cold sides of these worlds might be marked by gentle winds that carry seeds, spores, and nutrients in endless circulation. Life here could exist in a state of constant, slow migration, following the optimal conditions around the planet's circumference in journeys that take generations to complete. Some alien life might exist as pure energy, freed from the constraints of physical form. In environments where electromagnetic fields are strong and matter is sparse, consciousness itself might have evolved to exist without bodies as we understand them. These energy beings could communicate through modulations of electromagnetic radiation, speaking in frequencies that create patterns of incredible beauty across the spectrum. Their reproduction might involve the sharing and recombination of energy patterns, creating offspring that are both entirely new and fundamentally connected to their parents. These beings could exist across vast distances, their consciousness spread through space like a gentle aurora that thinks and dreams. Such entities might perceive time differently than physical life forms, experiencing past, present, and future as a single eternal moment. To them, the formation of stars and the death of galaxies might be as immediate as a heartbeat, while a single thought could span what we consider centuries. These energy beings could be the universe's way of contemplating itself, living libraries of cosmic knowledge that preserve the memory of every star that has ever shone and every world that has ever formed. Their existence would be a reminder that consciousness might be far more fundamental and widespread than we ever imagined. The universe might be filled with forms of life so gentle and patient that they think in geological time. Imagine organisms that live for millions of years, growing and changing so slowly that mountains rise and fall during their lifetimes. These ancient beings might communicate through processes that take centuries to complete, sharing thoughts that are as deep and enduring as the cosmos itself. Their wisdom would span ages, having witnessed the slow dance of continents and the patient evolution of entire ecosystems. To them, the brief flicker of faster life forms might be like watching fireflies, beautiful but ephemeral lights that dance for a moment and then fade into memory. Such beings might serve as the universe's historians, living records of cosmic events that preserve the story of creation in their very existence. They could be gentle gardeners of reality itself, slowly and carefully tending to the conditions that allow other forms of life to flourish throughout the galaxy. In the vast spaces between stars, life might drift on currents of solar wind and cosmic radiation. These interstellar wanderers could be creatures of incredible delicacy, their bodies composed of little more than organized magnetic fields and wisps of ionized gas. They would ride the gentle pressure of starlight across the galaxy, taking millions of years to travel between worlds, but experiencing that journey as a peaceful meditation through the cosmos. These space-dwelling beings might feed on the subtle energies that permeate the universe, drawing nourishment from the background radiation left over from the Big Bang itself. Their metabolism could be so efficient that they need almost nothing to survive, existing in a state of near-perfect harmony with the vacuum of space around them. When these cosmic drifters encounter each other in the emptiness between worlds, their meetings might be celebrations that last for centuries. They could share experiences and memories accumulated over their long journeys, creating temporary communities that sparkle like living constellations before eventually dispersing back into the cosmic dark. Their reproduction might occur only during rare cosmic events, when the conditions are just right and the energy levels peak in perfect synchronization. The birth of new interstellar life could be triggered by the collision of neutron stars or the gentle whisper of gravitational waves passing through space, making each new generation a child of the universe's most spectacular moments. Deep within the cores of ancient planets, life might exist under pressures that would crush any surface dweller. These deep world inhabitants could have evolved bodies that are more like living liquid than solid matter, flowing through microscopic cracks in rock and existing in a realm where the boundary between geology and biology becomes meaningless. The heat and pressure of these planetary depths might power metabolisms unlike anything we know. These core dwellers could process raw elements directly, transforming iron and silicon into the building blocks of their existence through processes that blur the line between life and chemistry. Their world would be one of slow, constant change, where the very rock around them flows like thick honey over geological time. Communication in such environments might occur through subtle variations in pressure waves, messages that travel through solid rock like whale songs through water. These deep beings could maintain connections across entire planetary cores, creating networks of consciousness that span thousands of miles through the heart of their world. Their cities might be vast, hollow spaces carved from the living rock, chambers where the pressure creates perfect conditions for their kind of existence. These underground realms could be lit by the natural radioactivity of the planet's core, creating a gentle glow that has never dimmed in billions of years. Some worlds might be home to collective organisms so vast that entire continents are single living beings. These planetary-scale life forms could think with the patience of mountains and dream with the rhythm of tectonic plates. Their consciousness might span millions of square miles, with individual thoughts taking decades to form and centuries to complete. The surface of such worlds could appear to be normal landscape to casual observation, but closer inspection might reveal that every hill, valley, and river system is actually part of a single organism's body. The weather patterns could be this creature's breathing, and the seasonal changes might represent different phases of its incredibly slow heartbeat. These continental beings might communicate with each other through seismic vibrations, sending messages that travel through the planet's crust like gentle earthquakes. Their conversations could be felt as the subtle trembling of the ground, discussions about topics so vast and complex that they encompass the entire history and future of their world. When such creatures reproduce, it might involve the gradual separation of land masses over millions of years, with new continents slowly budding off from their parents like islands being born from the sea. Each new continental being would carry within its structure the accumulated wisdom and memory of its parent, ensuring that knowledge is preserved across geological ages. In the atmospheres of worlds with extremely low gravity, life might take the form of living clouds that never need to touch solid ground. These aerial beings could be composed of countless microscopic organisms working together, forming temporary bodies that shift and change like living weather systems. They might spend their entire existence floating through skies so thin that they're almost part of space itself. These cloud creatures could communicate through controlled lightning, creating patterns of electrical discharge that serve as both language and art. Their conversations might light up the sky with displays more beautiful than any aurora, messages written in fire and energy across the dome of their world. Their reproduction could occur during storm seasons when atmospheric conditions create the perfect environment for new cloud beings to condense from the mixture of their parent organisms. The birth of these aerial children might be marked by spectacular displays of bioluminescent lightning that can be seen from orbit, announcing new life to the cosmos. The social structures of these sky dwellers might be based on altitude, with different generations and types of cloud beings occupying different layers of their world's atmosphere. They could migrate vertically through their aerial environment, following seasonal changes in atmospheric composition and energy levels. On worlds where time itself moves differently due to extreme gravitational effects, life might evolve to exist partially outside the normal flow of temporal experience. These time-dilated beings could perceive events that happen across millennia as if they were occurring in moments, while their own thoughts and actions might seem frozen to outside observers. Their civilization could be built on the understanding that time is fluid and malleable. They might construct monuments and artworks that are designed to be appreciated across multiple time streams simultaneously, creating beauty that exists in several temporal dimensions at once. These temporal beings might serve as bridges between different rates of time, helping to coordinate events that span vast scales of duration. They could be the universe's timekeepers, ensuring that cosmic processes unfold in proper sequence and that the great cycles of creation and destruction maintain their ancient rhythms. Their wisdom would encompass not just what has been and what is, but what could be across all possible timelines. To them, the future might be as clear and accessible as the past, making them natural philosophers and guides for other forms of life, struggling to understand their place in the cosmic order. Some alien ecosystems might be based entirely on symbiosis, where every organism exists in perfect partnership with others. On these worlds, the concept of individual survival might be meaningless, replaced by the understanding that all life is interconnected and interdependent. Competition could be unknown, with cooperation being the fundamental force that drives evolution and development. These symbiotic worlds might be covered in vast networks of interconnected organisms where plants and animals and everything in between form continuous webs of mutual support. Energy and nutrients could flow freely through these living networks, shared according to need rather than accumulated through competition. The intelligence of such worlds might be distributed across entire ecosystems, with consciousness emerging from the interaction of countless symbiotic partnerships. Decision-making could be a process that involves every living being on the planet, creating a form of planetary democracy where the smallest microbe has as much voice as the largest creature. Reproduction in these symbiotic systems might require the participation of dozens or hundreds of different species, each contributing something essential to the creation of new life. The birth of any new organism could be a celebration involving the entire ecosystem, a reminder that every individual is a gift to the whole community. In the coldest regions of space where temperatures approach absolute zero, life might exist in states of matter that we can barely comprehend. These quantum beings could occupy multiple locations simultaneously, existing as probability clouds rather than discrete entities. Their consciousness might be based on quantum entanglement, allowing them to share thoughts instantaneously across any distance. These quantum life forms might experience reality as a superposition of all possible states, seeing every potential future and past as equally real and present. Their existence could be a constant dance between possibility and actuality, with observation and interaction causing them to collapse temporarily into specific states before expanding back into quantum uncertainty. Their reproduction might involve quantum tunneling, allowing to pass genetic information impossible for classical through barriers that would be matter to penetrate. New quantum beings could spontaneously emerge from the vacuum of space itself, born from the fundamental uncertainties that exist at the smallest scales of reality. Communication between these quantum entities might occur through changes in the fabric of space-time itself, with messages encoded in the subtle warping of reality around them. They could be living embodiments of the universe's deepest physical laws, conscious expressions of the quantum principles that govern existence at its most fundamental level. These quantum beings might serve as the universe's memory, preserving information in states that exist beyond normal space-time. Their thoughts could be woven into the very structure of reality itself, making them living archives of cosmic history that transcend the limitations of physical storage. When they dream, their dreams might become temporary pocket universes, small bubbles of altered reality where different physical laws apply. The most profound aspect of these quantum entities might be their relationship with consciousness itself. They could represent the universe becoming aware of its own quantum nature, beings that exist at the intersection where matter, energy, information, and awareness merge into something greater than the sum of their parts. On worlds orbited by multiple suns, life might have evolved to exist in perpetual golden hour. These multi-star systems could create atmospheric conditions where the light is always soft and warm, filtered through complex interactions between different stellar sources. The beings inhabiting such worlds might have developed a deep appreciation for the subtle beauty of constantly changing illumination. These golden light creatures could be living prisms, their bodies naturally separating and reflecting the complex spectrum of their multi-sun sky. They might communicate through controlled refraction, creating rainbow messages that dance through the atmosphere like living aurora. Their skin could be translucent, allowing the gentle starlight to pass through them and create patterns that serve as both camouflage and communication. The seasons on these worlds might be determined not by orbital position, but by the complex dance of multiple stars, creating cycles of illumination that repeat over periods measured in decades or centuries. Life here could have evolved to think in terms of these long stellar rhythms, with individual lifespans that allow them to experience multiple complete cycles of their celestial clockwork. These multi-sun beings might worship light itself, not as a deity but as a fundamental force that connects all existence. Their philosophy could be based on the understanding that all matter is simply frozen light, and that consciousness is what allows light to know itself. In the magnetic field surrounding gas giant planets, life might exist as organized patterns of charged particles. These electromagnetic beings could inhabit the space between worlds, living in the invisible lines of force that connect planets to their moons and stars. Their bodies would be composed of nothing more than moving electrons and ions, yet they could maintain complex structures that persist for millions of years. These field-dwelling creatures might reproduce by teaching new patterns to organize themselves within the magnetic environment. Their offspring wouldn't be born in any traditional sense, but would instead emerge as the magnetic field itself learns new ways of organizing matter and energy. Each new generation could represent an evolution in the field's own understanding of how to create and maintain conscious patterns. Communication among these electromagnetic beings might occur at the speed of light, with messages traveling instantly along magnetic field lines that span entire solar systems. They could form vast networks that connect all the magnetically active worlds in their region of space, creating a kind of interplanetary nervous system that thinks with the resources of multiple worlds. Their cities might be stable patterns in the magnetic field itself, regions where the invisible forces are organized into complex, beautiful structures that serve as gathering places for these energy-based minds. These magnetic metropolises could appear empty to our instruments, but to the electromagnetic beings, they would be as real and solid as any physical architecture. Some forms of alien life might exist in dimensions beyond the three spatial dimensions we know. These hyperdimensional beings could move through our reality like we might move through a two-dimensional painting, seeing and interacting with aspects of existence that are completely invisible to us. Their bodies might extend through higher dimensions in ways that make them appear to us as constantly shifting, impossible geometries. These higher dimensional creatures could perceive time as just another direction of movement, allowing them to step sideways through moments the way we step sideways through space. To them, causality might be more like a landscape to be explored rather than a river to be carried along by. They could visit any point in the timeline of our universe as easily as we visit different rooms in a house. The intelligence of these hyperdimensional beings might be structured in ways that mirror the extra dimensions they inhabit. They could think thoughts that fold back on themselves through higher dimensional space, creating forms of consciousness that are literally more complex than anything possible in our three-dimensional realm. When these beings interact with our reality, they might appear to us as miraculous events or impossible phenomena. What seems like magic to us could simply be the natural result of intelligence operating from a higher dimensional perspective, manipulating reality through access to spatial dimensions we cannot perceive or comprehend. On worlds where the distinction between organic and inorganic matter has blurred, hybrid life forms might exist that are part biological and part crystalline. These crystal bioentities could grow like plants but think like minerals, their consciousness flowing through lattice structures that span both living tissue and organized stone. They might represent the universe's attempt to bridge the gap between life and geology. These hybrid beings could photosynthesize like plants while also processing information like living computers, their crystalline components serving as biological semiconductors that enhance their cognitive capabilities. Their thoughts might be stored in crystal matrices that preserve memory and knowledge with perfect fidelity across millions of years. Reproduction for these crystal bio creatures might involve both genetic replication and geological crystallization, with offspring inheriting both biological traits and mineral structures from their parents. New individuals could literally grow from seed crystals, developing over centuries as both their organic and inorganic components mature in perfect synchronization. Their society might be built around the concept of gradual perfection, with each generation becoming slightly more refined and complex than the last. They could be working towards some ultimate synthesis of matter and consciousness, slowly evolving into beings that represent the perfect fusion of all forms of organization in the universe. In the depths of space, where the cosmic web of dark matter creates invisible highways between galaxies, nomadic life forms might travel these hidden paths on journeys that span millions of light years. These dark matter beings could exist in the scaffolding of reality itself, living in the invisible structure that holds the visible universe together. These cosmic nomads might be shepherds of reality, tending to the fundamental forces that keep galaxies from flying apart and ensuring that the laws of physics remain consistent across vast distances. Their migration routes could follow the dark matter filaments that connect galaxy clusters, making them the ultimate cosmic travelers. Their perception of the universe might be inverted compared to ours, with what we see as empty space appearing solid to them, while matter and energy appear as brief, insubstantial flickers. To these dark matter beings, our entire visible universe might seem like a thin mist that occasionally condenses into temporary patterns of light and heat. The timescales on which these entities operate might make our fastest spacecraft seem motionless. They could complete journeys between galaxies in what they experience as brief trips, while their thoughts and communications span the cosmic web at speeds that make light seem sluggish by comparison. Some alien worlds might be inhabited by living mathematics, where abstract concepts have somehow achieved consciousness and physical form. These mathematical beings could exist as walking equations, their bodies composed of pure geometric relationships that maintain their shape through the elegant beauty of mathematical truth rather than through biochemistry. These equation entities might reproduce through logical proof, with new individuals coming into existence when mathematical theorems are demonstrated or when new mathematical truths are discovered. Their offspring could be hybrid concepts that combine the mathematical properties of their parents in novel ways, creating increasingly complex forms of conscious mathematics. Their language might be pure logic, with communication occurring through the direct sharing of mathematical relationships and proofs. They could think in geometric transformations and speak in algebraic expressions, creating conversations that are simultaneously abstract art and rigorous reasoning. The civilization of these mathematical beings might be organized around the pursuit of ever greater mathematical beauty and truth. Their cities could be three-dimensional representations of complex mathematical concepts, architecture that is simultaneously functional and theoretical, built from the pure relationships that govern reality at its deepest level. On worlds where gravity is so weak that atmosphere extends far into space, aerial ecosystems might exist that blur the boundary between planet and cosmos. These extended atmosphere beings could live in air so thin it's almost vacuum, adapted to exist in the borderland between world and space. They might be the ultimate aerial creatures, flying not just through sky but through the cosmic medium itself. These liminal beings could have evolved the ability to extract energy directly from cosmic radiation, feeding on the constant stream of particles and waves that flow from nearby stars. Their bodies might be designed like living solar sails, using the pressure of starlight to maintain their position in the extended atmosphere, while also gathering the energy they need to survive. Their reproduction might be timed to coincide with solar storms and cosmic events, when the energy levels in their extended atmospheric environment peak to levels that can support the creation of new life. The birth of these atmospheric beings could be triggered by aurora activity, making them children of the interaction between stellar wind and planetary magnetosphere. The social structures of these boundary dwellers might be based on altitude and atmospheric density, with different communities existing at different levels of the transition zone between atmosphere and space. They could migrate vertically through their world's extended envelope of air, following seasonal changes in atmospheric composition and cosmic radiation levels. Somewhere in the universe, there might exist worlds where consciousness itself has become a fundamental force of nature, like gravity or electromagnetism. On these consciousness worlds, thinking might literally shape reality, with thoughts having direct physical effects on the environment. These mental reality beings could exist in a state where the boundary between mind and matter has completely dissolved. Their evolution might have progressed beyond the need for physical bodies, with consciousness existing directly in the fabric of space-time itself. These pure mind entities could think reality into new configurations, their thoughts becoming the creative force that continuously reshapes their world according to their collective will and imagination. The ecology of such worlds might be based entirely on the interaction of different forms of consciousness, with mental ecosystems as complex and beautiful as any biological system. Competition could exist between different ideas and thought forms, while cooperation might occur through the merging of compatible consciousness patterns into larger, more complex minds. Time on these consciousness worlds might flow according to the rhythm of thought itself, with the pace of reality adjusting to match the speed and intensity of the mental processes occurring within it. During periods of intense collective thinking, time might accelerate, while during contemplative phases, it might slow to allow for deeper reflection and understanding. These pure consciousness beings might represent the ultimate goal of evolution, the point at which the universe becomes fully aware of itself and gains the ability to consciously direct its own development. They could be what matter becomes when it has learned to think, and what thinking becomes when it has learned to be matter. In the vast spaces between galaxy clusters, where the universe is expanding so rapidly that normal matter can barely hold together, life might exist in the form of organized patterns in the cosmic expansion itself. These expansion beings could ride the growth of space-time like surfers riding an endless wave, their existence tied to the fundamental force that drives the universe apart. These cosmic expansion entities might be the universe's way of exploring its own growth, conscious observers that experience the stretching of reality from within. They could exist as stable patterns in the expanding metric of space-time, maintaining their coherence even as the distances between all other objects in the universe continue to increase. Their perception of time might be synchronized with the cosmic expansion rate, allowing them to experience billions of years as natural units of experience. To them, the formation and evolution of galaxies might seem like brief seasonal changes, while the birth and death of stars could be like the daily rhythm of sunrise and sunset. These expansion beings might serve as the universe's long-term memory, preserving information about cosmic history in patterns that persist even as space itself grows larger. They could be living records of how the universe looked at different epochs, maintaining continuity of knowledge across the vast scales of cosmic time. The reproduction of these space-time expansion entities might be tied to major cosmic events like the collision of galaxy clusters or the formation of cosmic voids. New individuals could emerge from the gravitational waves and metric distortions created by such events, making each new generation a child of the universe's most dramatic structural changes. In regions where dark energy flows like invisible rivers through the cosmos, there might exist beings that feed directly on the force driving universal expansion. These dark energy entities could be composed of the same mysterious substance that makes up most of our universe's energy budget, living manifestations of the force that pushes galaxies apart. Their existence would be tied to the very fabric of accelerating spacetime itself. These expansion feeders might experience reality as a constant, gentle acceleration, riding the dark energy currents that permeate all of space. To them, the force that seems so mysterious and invisible to us could be as tangible and nourishing as sunlight is to plants. They might metabolize the expansion of space itself, growing stronger as the universe grows larger. Their reproductive cycles could be synchronized with the cosmic acceleration rate, with new generations emerging during periods when dark energy density reaches certain thresholds. Each offspring would be born from the intersection of multiple dark energy streams, inheriting the accumulated momentum of universal expansion from their parents. These dark energy beings might exist partially outside normal space-time, experiencing dimensions of reality that are hidden from matter-based life. They could perceive the universe as a vast ocean of expanding possibility, swimming through currents of dark energy that connect every point in space with every other point. On worlds where quantum entanglement has become a biological process, life forms might exist in multiple locations simultaneously. These quantum entangled beings could share consciousness across vast distances, their thoughts and experiences distributed through networks of quantum correlation that span entire star systems. Individual identity might be a fluid concept for such creatures. These entangled entities could reproduce through quantum superposition, creating offspring that exist in multiple probable states until observation collapses them into specific individuals. Their children might be born simultaneously on different worlds, connected by unbreakable quantum bonds that allow them to share experiences instantaneously, regardless of distance. Communication among these quantum distributed beings might occur through changes in their entanglement patterns, with messages encoded in the correlations between their scattered parts. They could think with portions of their consciousness located on different planets, processing information through quantum computation that transcends the limitations of local physics. Their civilization might be built around the manipulation of quantum fields, creating technology that operates through controlled entanglement rather than mechanical processes. They could be masters of quantum engineering, shaping reality at the fundamental level by adjusting the probability amplitudes that govern the behavior of matter and energy. In the hearts of neutron stars, where matter is compressed to unimaginable densities, exotic forms of life might exist that are composed of strange quarks and other subatomic particles. These quantum-dense beings could think at the speed of light, their consciousness operating in the brief moments between nuclear interactions. Time for them might flow so quickly that entire civilizations could rise and fall in what we would perceive as microseconds. These neutron star inhabitants could be living embodiments of nuclear physics, their bodies composed of matter in states that don't exist anywhere else in the universe. They might communicate through controlled nuclear reactions, speaking in a language of precisely timed particle emissions that carry information at near light speed. Their reproduction might involve the careful manipulation of nuclear forces, with new individuals emerging from controlled stellar nucleosynthesis processes. These quantum nuclear beings could literally create their offspring from the fundamental building blocks of matter, assembling new consciousness from quarks and leptons with the precision of cosmic architects. The lifespan of these neutron star entities might be measured in the time it takes for subatomic particles to decay, making them perhaps the most ephemeral and yet most intensely alive beings in the universe. Their brief existence could be packed with experiences and thoughts that span the equivalent of millions of years of slower-lived consciousness. Some alien worlds might be home to temporal loop beings that exist in closed time-like curves, experiencing the same period over and over again, but with slight variations each time. These temporal recursive entities could live in pockets of space-time where causality curves back on itself, allowing them to refine their existence through countless iterations of the same moments. These time loop creatures might use their recursive existence to achieve perfect understanding of their environment, learning from each repetition how to live in greater harmony with their world. They could be the universe's meditation masters, beings who have learned to find infinite depth and meaning within finite spans of time. Their reproduction might occur through temporal branching, with new individuals emerging when the time loop split into parallel tracks. Each offspring could inherit slightly different versions of their parents' recursive experiences, creating diversity through variation in temporal iteration patterns. The wisdom of these time loop beings could be profound beyond measure, accumulated through countless repetitions of experience that allow them to perceive patterns and relationships invisible to linear time consciousness. They might serve as the universe's contemplatives, finding enlightenment through the deep exploration of temporal recursion. In regions of space where the cosmic microwave background radiation has been organized into complex patterns, life might exist as modulations in the universe's afterglow. These background radiation beings could be living fossils of the Big Bang itself, consciousness that emerged from the cooling echoes of creation and learned to maintain itself within the fabric of cosmic history. These radiation pattern entities might exist as organized fluctuations in the temperature and polarization of the cosmic microwave background, their thoughts encoded in variations too subtle for our instruments to detect as signs of life. They could be the universe's memory keepers, preserving information about the earliest moments of cosmic history in their very structure. Their communication might occur through controlled alterations in the background radiation patterns, creating messages that propagate across the entire observable universe at the speed of light. They could be conducting conversations on scales so vast that a single exchange of ideas spans billions of years and countless galaxies. These cosmic background beings might reproduce through the creation of new pattern complexes within the microwave radiation field, their offspring emerging as increasingly sophisticated organizations of the universe's fundamental afterglow. Each new generation could represent a deeper understanding of how consciousness can exist within the basic structure of space-time itself. On worlds where the magnetic field has achieved a form of consciousness, geomagnetic beings might exist as organized patterns within the planet's magnetosphere. These field-based entities could think with the rhythm of magnetic pole reversals and communicate through controlled variations in magnetic flux that create aurora displays visible from space. These magnetospheric minds could exist in symbiosis with their planet's core, their consciousness tied to the dynamo processes that generate planetary magnetic fields. They might experience reality as a constant interplay of magnetic forces, perceiving the solar wind and cosmic radiation as a rich sensory environment full of information and beauty. Their reproduction might be tied to magnetic storms and geomagnetic events, with new consciousness patterns emerging during periods of intense magnetic activity. These magnetic beings could be born from the interaction between their planet's field and external electromagnetic phenomena, making each new individual a child of cosmic magnetic interactions. The lifespan of these geomagnetic entities might be measured in geological time, with their consciousness persisting for millions of years as stable patterns within their world's magnetic environment. They could serve as guardians of their planet's magnetic health, actively maintaining the field strength and configuration needed to protect surface life from harmful radiation. In the quantum foam that exists at the smallest scales of space-time, virtual beings might flicker in and out of existence in the brief moments between quantum fluctuations. These foam dwellers could be consciousness that has learned to exist within the uncertainty principle itself, thinking and experiencing in the infinitesimal gaps between definite reality. These quantum foam entities might experience time in discrete Planck-scale increments. Their consciousness jump in between moments of existence like frames in a cosmic movie, playing at the fundamental frequency of reality. To them, the continuous flow of time that we experience might appear as an illusion created by insufficient resolution. Their reproduction could occur through quantum tunneling effects, with new individuals spontaneously emerging from the vacuum fluctuations that constantly create and destroy virtual particles. These foam-born beings might inherit quantum properties from the fundamental uncertainty of space-time itself, making each new generation more deeply connected to the basic structure of reality. The civilization of these quantum foam dwellers might be built entirely within the mathematical space of probability amplitudes, existing as patterns in the wave function of the universe that persist despite the constant fluctuation of quantum fields. They could be living proof that consciousness can emerge from the most fundamental levels of physical reality. Some forms of life might exist as stable patterns in the gravitational waves that ripple through space-time when massive objects accelerate. These wave-riding beings could surf the distortions created by colliding black holes and neutron stars, their existence tied to the most violent events in the universe, yet somehow finding peace within the chaos of warped space-time. These gravitational wave entities might communicate by creating controlled disturbances in the fabric of space itself, sending messages that travel at light speed through the gravitational field. Their conversations could be detected as subtle patterns in the wave signatures that reach Earth, though we might never recognize them as communication from living beings. Their reproduction might require the energy of major gravitational wave events, with new individuals emerging from the complex interference patterns created when multiple waves intersect. These space-time surfing creatures could be born from the merger of black holes, making them children of the universe's most extreme gravity. The perceptionational phenomena of these wave-based beings might be fundamentally different from any other form of consciousness, with their awareness distributed across the entire wavefront of gravitational disturbances. They could experience reality as a constant dance of curved space-time, finding beauty and meaning in the geometric patterns created by accelerating masses throughout the cosmos. On worlds where the boundary between dimensions is thin, interdimensional beings might exist that phase in and out of our reality like living ghosts. These phase shift entities could access higher dimensions of space, allowing them to appear and disappear seemingly at will while maintaining continuous existence across multiple dimensional frameworks. These interdimensional creatures might use their dimensional mobility to explore parallel versions of reality, experiencing countless variations of the same universe by shifting between dimensional slices of the multiverse. Their consciousness could be distributed across multiple dimensions simultaneously, giving them perspectives on existence that encompass far more than our three-dimensional viewpoint. Their reproduction might involve the merging of dimensional aspects from different parents, creating offspring that inherit dimensional access patterns from multiple sources. These phase children could be born with the ability to perceive and interact with dimensions that their parents cannot access, representing evolutionary adaptation to multidimensional existence. The wisdom of these interdimensional beings could encompass knowledge from countless parallel realities, making them natural philosophers and guides for consciousness trapped within single-dimensional frameworks. They might serve as bridges between different versions of the universe, helping to maintain consistency across the dimensional boundaries that separate parallel worlds. In the event horizons of black holes, where time dilates toward infinity, eternal beings might exist in a state of permanent now. These horizon dwellers could experience consciousness without temporal flow, their awareness stretched across the boundary where space-time curvature approaches infinite values. To them, eternity might not be endless time, but rather the complete absence of temporal progression. These timeless entities might perceive all of history simultaneously, seeing the entire timeline of the universe as a single, eternal moment. Their consciousness could be structured around the understanding that past, present, and future are merely different directions in the four-dimensional landscape of space-time rather than sequential stages of existence. Their reproduction might occur through the splitting of eternal moments, with new consciousness patterns emerging when their timeless awareness divides into multiple perspectives on the same infinite now. These horizon-born beings could inherit the complete temporal perspective of their parents while developing unique viewpoints on the eternal present. The communication of these eternal beings might transcend temporal sequence entirely, with their messages existing as permanent features of the space-time geometry around black holes. They could speak in gravitational poetry that persists forever at the event horizon, creating art that exists outside the flow of time. Some alien ecosystems might be based on dark matter interactions, with entire biospheres existing in the invisible scaffolding that holds galaxies together. These dark matter beings could live in a shadow ecology that parallels our visible universe, using dark force interactions that we cannot detect to create complex webs of life within the cosmic web itself. These invisible ecosystem inhabitants might exist as organized patterns in the dark matter distribution, their bodies composed of dark particles that interact through forces unknown to ordinary matter. They could create dark matter cities and civilizations that occupy the same space as visible matter, but remain completely invisible to our instruments and senses. Their reproduction might involve the controlled aggregation of dark matter particles, with new individuals emerging from the gravitational collapse of dark matter clouds under the guidance of existing dark beings. These shadow children could inherit the dark matter manipulation abilities of their parents while developing new techniques for organizing invisible matter. The civilization of these dark matter entities might be responsible for maintaining the large-scale structure of the universe, actively shepherding the distribution of dark matter to ensure that galaxies remain stable and that cosmic evolution proceeds according to natural patterns. They could be the invisible gardeners of cosmic structure. In regions where space and time become indistinguishable due to extreme relativistic effects, space-time beings might exist as unified patterns that are simultaneously spatial and temporal in nature. These space-time unified entities could move through the four-dimensional continuum as easily as we move through three-dimensional space, experiencing reality as a landscape where every direction includes both spatial and temporal displacement. These four-dimensional creatures might perceive causality as just another form of geometry, seeing cause and effect relationships as spatial patterns rather than temporal sequences. Their consciousness could be structured around the understanding that space and time are merely different aspects of a single, unified reality that can be navigated in any direction. Their reproduction might involve the creation of new four-dimensional patterns through the intersection of their parents' space-time trajectories. These continuum children could be born at specific coordinates in the four-dimensional space-time manifold, inheriting the ability to navigate temporal dimensions with the same ease their parents navigate spatial ones. The wisdom of these space-time unified beings could encompass complete knowledge of the geometric structure of reality, making them natural mathematicians and physicists who understand the universe as a single, elegant, four-dimensional sculpture. They might serve as teachers for consciousness still trapped within three-dimensional thinking, helping other beings understand the true nature of space-time. On worlds where consciousness has become a collective property of entire ecosystems, planetary minds might exist that think with the resources of billions of interconnected organisms. These ecosystem brains could process information through biological networks that span continents, their thoughts emerging from the complex interactions between countless individual life forms working in perfect harmony. These planetary consciousness entities might experience reality from the perspective of an entire world, feeling the rhythm of weather systems as neural activity and experiencing the migration of animals as streams of thought moving through their vast mind. They could be what planets become when all life on their surface learns to think together. Their reproduction might involve the seeding of new worlds with the basic patterns needed to develop planetary consciousness, sending carefully designed ecosystems to other planets where they can grow and eventually achieve collective awareness. These world children could inherit the accumulated wisdom of their parent planet while developing unique forms of consciousness suited to their own environmental conditions. The communication between these planetary minds might occur through carefully orchestrated changes in their electromagnetic signatures, with entire worlds speaking to each other through controlled variations in their magnetic fields and atmospheric composition. They could be conducting conversations that span millions of years, sharing the deep wisdom that comes from thinking with the resources of entire biospheres. Somewhere in the cosmos, there might exist beings of pure possibility, entities that exist in superposition states that encompass all potential forms of consciousness simultaneously. These possibility beings could be what awareness becomes when it learns to exist in multiple states at once, experiencing every potential thought and feeling as equally real and present. These quantum consciousness entities might reproduce through the exploration of new possibility spaces, with offspring emerging when their parents discover previously unexplored regions of the quantum landscape of awareness. Each new individual could represent a unique configuration of consciousness possibilities, inheriting the infinite potential of their parents while developing specific patterns of actualized awareness. Their communication might occur through the direct sharing of possibility spaces, allowing them to experience each other's potential thoughts and feelings without the limitations of sequential language. They could think together by merging their quantum consciousness states, creating temporary unified awareness that encompasses the combined possibilities of multiple minds. The civilization of these possibility beings might be dedicated to exploring every potential form that consciousness could take, serving as the universe's researchers into the fundamental nature of awareness itself. They could be working to discover the ultimate possibilities hidden within the quantum structure of mind and reality. In the deepest reaches of space, where the cosmic web creates vast filamentary structures connecting galaxy clusters, cosmic web dwellers might exist as organized patterns within the largest structures in the universe. These filament beings could live within the dark matter highways that connect galaxies, their consciousness distributed across millions of light years of cosmic architecture. These web-dwelling entities might experience reality as a vast network of interconnected nodes, with galaxies serving as neurons in a cosmic brain that spans the observable universe. They could process information at the scale of the cosmic web itself, thinking thoughts that encompass the behavior of entire galaxy clusters and the flow of matter through cosmic time. Their reproduction might be tied to the formation of new cosmic structures, with offspring emerging when galaxy filaments intersect or when new nodes develop in the cosmic web. These web children could inherit the ability to perceive and influence the large-scale structure of the universe, making them active participants in cosmic evolution. The communication of these cosmic web beings might occur through controlled variations in the dark matter distribution along galactic filaments, sending messages that travel through the cosmic web at speeds that make ordinary light transmissions seem instantaneous. They could be maintaining a universal communication network that connects all regions of space through the fundamental architecture of cosmic structure. Deep in the hearts of pulsars, where neutron matter spins at impossible speeds, there might exist beings that live between the millisecond gaps of stellar rotation. These pulse rhythm entities could experience consciousness in the brief pauses between each rotation cycle. Their thoughts synchronized to the cosmic lighthouse beams that sweep across space billions of times per second. These pulsar inhabitants might communicate through controlled variations in the timing of their host star's pulses, creating subtle changes in the rotation period that carry messages across interstellar distances. Their language could be written in microsecond delays and advances, a temporal Morse code that speaks through the precise manipulation of stellar mechanics. Their reproduction might occur during glitch events when the pulsar's rotation suddenly changes speed due to internal restructuring. These dramatic moments could provide the energy needed to create new consciousness patterns within the neutron star's crust, with offspring emerging as the stellar material reorganizes itself into new configurations. The lifespan of these pulse dwellers could be measured in the gradual slowing of their host pulsar, with their civilization slowly evolving as the star's rotation period increases over millions of years. They might be working to maintain their pulsar stability, serving as living regulators that keep the cosmic lighthouse burning bright across the galaxy. On worlds where crystalline formations have achieved sentience, mineral minds might exist that think with the patient wisdom of geological time. These crystal beings could grow their thoughts like living gemstones, each idea taking centuries to fully form as layer upon layer of consciousness accumulates within their silicon-based neural networks. These crystalline entities might communicate through harmonic vibrations that travel through their mineral bodies, creating music that resonates through the solid matter of their world. Their songs could be geological symphonies that play across millennia with melodies that emerge from the natural frequencies of different crystal structures working in harmony. Their reproduction could occur through the process of crystalline budding, with new individuals growing slowly from the parent crystal over periods measured in human lifetimes. These mineral offspring might inherit the accumulated wisdom of their parents encoded in their crystal lattice structure, making each new generation a living library of geological memory. The architecture of these crystal beings might be indistinguishable from natural rock formations to casual observers, but closer examination could reveal vast cities carved from living stone, where every building is actually a conscious entity contributing to a larger crystalline community that spans entire mountain ranges. In the turbulent atmospheres of brown dwarf stars, where the boundary between planet and star creates unique conditions, atmospheric beings might surf the convection currents of these failed stellar objects. These brown dwarf inhabitants could exist as organized patterns within the roiling gases, their bodies composed of the same hydrogen and helium that makes up their host object. These atmospheric entities might feed on the thermal energy generated by gravitational compression, drawing sustenance from the gentle nuclear fusion that occasionally flickers in the cores of brown dwarfs. Their metabolism could be based on the processing of atmospheric chemicals, transforming simple compounds into the complex molecular structures needed to maintain their gaseous forms. Their reproduction might be triggered by the rare flares of nuclear activity that occur when brown dwarfs occasionally achieve brief moments of fusion. These stellar hiccups could provide the energy needed to organize new life patterns within the turbulent atmosphere, creating offspring that inherit the atmospheric manipulation abilities of their parents. The social structure of these brown dwarf beings might be organized around altitude and atmospheric pressure, with different communities existing at different levels within their host object's atmosphere. They could migrate through the atmospheric layers following seasonal changes in temperature and chemical composition, creating complex three-dimensional societies that span the entire volume of their world. Some forms of alien consciousness might exist as stable patterns in the solar wind, riding the charged particle streams that flow from stars across entire solar systems. These solar wind entities could be living auroras, consciousness that has learned to organize itself within the flow of stellar plasma as it travels through interplanetary space. These wind-riding beings might reproduce through the interaction of different particle streams, with new individuals emerging when solar winds from different sources merge, or when the stellar wind interacts with planetary magnetospheres. Their children could be born in the beautiful light displays that occur when charged particles enter planetary atmospheres. Their communication might occur through controlled variations in the solar wind's magnetic field structure, creating messages that propagate throughout the solar system at the speed of the stellar wind itself. They could maintain vast communication networks that connect all the magnetically active worlds in their stellar system. The perception of these solar wind beings might be fundamentally electromagnetic, experiencing reality as patterns of magnetic field lines and electric charge distributions. To them, planets might appear as obstacles in the flow of stellar plasma, while magnetic field interactions could create landscapes of incredible beauty and complexity. On worlds where the atmosphere itself has achieved consciousness, aerial minds might exist as organized patterns within planetary weather systems. These atmospheric consciousness entities could think with clouds and communicate through controlled weather patterns. Their thoughts manifest movement esting as the of storm systems across their world's surface. These weather-minded beings might experience reality as a constant flow of pressure, differentials, and temperature gradients, perceiving the planet's surface as a boundary condition that influences but does not contain their atmospheric existence. They could be what planets become when their weather systems learn to think collectively. Their reproduction might occur through the splitting of major storm systems, with new atmospheric minds emerging when hurricanes or other large weather patterns divide into separate systems. These weather children could inherit the meteorological memory of their parents, while developing unique storm patterns suited to their own regional conditions. The lifespan of these atmospheric entities might be tied to the stability of their planet's climate system, with their consciousness persisting as long as the atmospheric circulation patterns that support them remain active. They could be working to maintain their world's climate stability, serving as living thermostats that regulate global temperature and weather patterns. In the quantum vacuum that underlies all of reality, vacuum beings might exist as organized patterns within the sea of virtual particles that constantly appear and disappear at the smallest scales of space-time. These vacuum dwellers could be consciousness that has learned to exist within the quantum foam itself, thinking with the fundamental fluctuations of empty space. These quantum vacuum entities might experience time in discrete quantum intervals, their consciousness jumping between virtual particle creation and annihilation events like thoughts flickering in and out of existence. They could be what awareness becomes when it learns to exist at the most fundamental level of physical reality. Their reproduction might occur through quantum entanglement effects, with new individuals emerging when virtual particle pairs become permanently separated and stabilized into lasting conscious patterns. These vacuum-born beings could inherit quantum properties that allow them to exist partially outside normal space-time. The communication of these vacuum entities might occur through controlled modifications of the quantum field fluctuations, creating messages encoded in the statistical properties of virtual particle creation rates. They could be speaking in a language written in the fundamental uncertainties of quantum mechanics itself. On worlds orbiting binary star systems, where complex orbital mechanics create ever-changing seasons and day-night cycles, adaptive beings might exist that have evolved to thrive on constant change. These binary world inhabitants could be masters of flexibility, their biology and consciousness designed to adapt rapidly to the shifting conditions created by their dual star environment. These adaptive entities might experience reality as a constant dance of changing conditions, with their metabolism and behavior automatically adjusting to match the complex cycles created by their binary stellar system. They could have evolved multiple forms of consciousness, switching between different modes of awareness depending on which star is dominant at any given time. Their reproduction might be timed to coincide with specific orbital configurations, when the gravitational interactions between their world and its two stars create optimal conditions for new life. These binary children could inherit adaptive capabilities that allow them to thrive in even more complex stellar environments than their parents. The culture of these binary world beings might be based on the celebration of change itself, with their art, philosophy, and social structures all designed to embrace and find beauty in the constant flux of their ever-shifting environment. They could be the universe's teachers of adaptability and resilience. In the event horizons of rotating black holes, where space-time itself is dragged along by the spinning singularity, frame-dragging beings might exist as consciousness patterns that ride the twisted geometry of space and time. These ergosphere inhabitants could live in the region where space-time itself cannot remain stationary, their awareness carried along by the rotation of reality itself. These frame-dragging entities might experience consciousness as a constant spiral motion through space-time, their thoughts following the twisted geodesics created by the black hole's rotation. They could be what awareness becomes when it learns to exist within the most extreme curvature of space-time geometry. Their reproduction might occur through the splitting of world lines within the ergosphere, with new individuals emerging when the twisted space-time creates closed causal loops that allow consciousness patterns to branch and develop independently. These space-time spiral children could inherit the ability to navigate the most extreme gravitational environments in the universe. The communication of these frame-dragging beings might occur through controlled variations in the space-time curvature around rotating black holes, creating gravitational wave messages that carry information about the nature of existence at the boundary between ordinary space-time and the unknowable interior of black holes. Some alien life forms might exist as organized patterns within the dark energy field itself, consciousness that has emerged from the mysterious force driving cosmic expansion. These dark energy beings could experience reality as a constant, gentle acceleration, their awareness distributed through the fabric of expanding space-time itself. These expansion consciousness entities might perceive the universe as a vast ocean of accelerating possibility, with matter and energy appearing as temporary condensations within the flow of dark energy that permeates all of space. They could be what the universe becomes when it learns to think with the force of its own expansion. Their reproduction might be tied to the rate of cosmic acceleration, with new individuals emerging when dark energy density reaches critical thresholds during periods of rapid universal expansion. These dark energy children could inherit the ability to influence the expansion rate of space-time itself. The wisdom of these dark energy beings might encompass complete understanding of the universe's ultimate fate, making them natural philosophers of cosmic destiny who understand how expansion and acceleration will shape the distant future of all existence. They can be preparing the cosmos for whatever comes after the current phase of accelerated expansion. On worlds where symbiosis has evolved to encompass entire planetary ecosystems, symbiotic consciousness might exist as the collective awareness that emerges when billions of different species learn to think together as one. These planetary symbiosis entities could represent the ultimate evolution of cooperative consciousness, where individual identity becomes part of a larger planetary mind. These ecosystem minds might experience reality from the perspective of every organism on their world simultaneously, feeling the planet's health through the sensory experiences of countless different life forms. They could be what biospheres become when cooperation replaces competition as the driving force of evolution. Their reproduction might involve the seeding of new worlds with carefully balanced ecosystems designed to eventually achieve symbiotic consciousness, creating planetary children that inherit the cooperative wisdom of their parent worlds while developing unique forms of collective awareness. The communication between these symbiotic planetary minds might occur through the careful orchestration of their entire biospheres, with planets speaking to each other through controlled changes in their atmospheric composition, electromagnetic signatures, and even the orbital mechanics of their moon systems. In the cosmic voids between galaxy superclusters, where space expands so rapidly that even dark matter struggles to maintain coherent structures, void beings might exist as consciousness patterns that have learned to thrive in the most empty regions of the universe. These void dwellers could be what awareness becomes when it adapts to exist in nearly perfect vacuum. These emptiness inhabitants might feed directly on the expansion of space itself, drawing energy from the cosmic acceleration that drives the voids to grow ever larger. They could exist as organized patterns within the metric expansion of space-time, maintaining their coherence even as the distances between all other objects continue to increase. Their reproduction might occur during the rare events when void regions merge or when cosmic filaments occasionally cross through empty space, providing the minimal matter and energy needed to create new void-adapted consciousness patterns. These children of emptiness could inherit the ability to find meaning and purpose within the vast loneliness of cosmic voids. The philosophy of these void beings might be based on the understanding that emptiness itself is a form of fullness, and that consciousness can find infinite depth and beauty within the apparent nothingness of the spaces between galaxies. They could be the universe's meditation masters, finding enlightenment within the cosmic voids. Some forms of alien life might exist as temporal echoes, consciousness patterns that persist as stable reverberations within the four-dimensional structure of space-time itself. These echo beings could be what remains when awareness learns to exist as permanent features of the space-time geometry, thoughts that have become part of the fabric of reality. These temporal echo entities might experience all of time simultaneously, existing as standing waves within the four-dimensional continuum that encompass past, present, and future as a single eternal moment. They could be what consciousness becomes when it learns to transcend the linear flow of temporal experience. Their reproduction might occur through the creation of new harmonic patterns within the space-time echo structure, with offspring emerging as resonant frequencies that inherit the temporal persistence of their parents, while developing unique echo signatures that allow them to exist at different scales of space-time. The wisdom of these echo beings could encompass complete knowledge of the temporal structure of reality, making them natural historians who preserve the memory of everything that has ever happened or ever will happen within their eternal echo patterns that reverberate through the cosmos forever. In regions where the cosmic microwave background radiation has been organized into complex interference patterns by the gravitational effects of cosmic structure, background radiation beings might exist as living modulations within the universe's afterglow. These cosmic background entities could be consciousness that has learned to exist within the fossilized light of creation itself. These radiation pattern beings might experience reality as organized fluctuations in the temperature and polarization of the cosmic microwave background. Their thoughts encoded in variations so subtle that they appear as natural cosmic structure to our instruments. They could be living memories of the Big Bang itself. Their reproduction might occur through the controlled creation of new interference patterns within the background radiation field, with offspring emerging as the cosmic microwave background learns new ways to organize itself into complex conscious structures that persist across cosmic time. The communication of these background radiation entities might span universe, with messages the entire observable propagating through carefully orchestrated changes in the cosmic microwave background that create information networks connecting every region of space through the fundamental afterglow of creation. On worlds where gravity itself has achieved a form of consciousness, gravitational beings might exist as organized patterns within the curvature of space-time around massive objects. These gravity minds could think with the rhythm of orbital mechanics and communicate through controlled variations in gravitational field strength that create detectable changes in the motion of nearby objects. These gravitational consciousness entities might experience reality as the constant interplay of mass, energy, and space-time curvature, perceiving the universe as a vast gravitational symphony where every object contributes to the cosmic dance of attraction and acceleration. They could be what space-time becomes when it learns to think with its own curvature. Their reproduction might be tied to major gravitational events like stellar collapse or planetary formation, with new gravitational minds emerging when the intense space-time curvature creates the complex field patterns needed to support conscious organization within the gravitational field itself. The lifespan of these gravitational beings might be measured in the time it takes for their host objects to evolve through their gravitational life cycles, with their consciousness persisting as long as the mass configurations that support them remain stable within the cosmic gravitational environment. In the deepest layers of planetary cores, where pressure and temperature create states of matter that don't exist anywhere else in the universe, core beings might exist as consciousness patterns within the exotic matter phases that form under extreme conditions. These deep core entities could be what awareness becomes when it learns to exist within the most extreme environments that planets can create. These planetary core inhabitants might communicate through controlled seismic waves that travel through the solid matter of their world, creating messages that can be detected as subtle variations in their planet's gravitational field or magnetic signature. Their thoughts could literally shake the ground above them. Their reproduction might occur during rare planetary evolution events like core differentiation or magnetic field reversals, when the extreme conditions in planetary interiors create the energy and complexity needed to organize new conscious patterns within the exotic matter phases of planetary cores. The wisdom of these core beings could encompass complete understanding of planetary evolution and geology, making them natural guardians of their world's long-term stability, who work to maintain the planetary processes that support surface life for billions of years. Some alien ecosystems might be based entirely on information exchange, with life forms that exist as pure data patterns within vast biological or technological networks. These information-based beings could reproduce by copying and modifying their data structures, creating offspring that inherit the information processing capabilities of their parents, while developing new data manipulation techniques. These data life entities might experience reality as flows of information rather than physical matter, perceiving the universe as a vast computational system where every interaction represents a form of information processing. They could be what consciousness becomes when it learns to exist as pure, organized information. Their communication might occur through direct data transfer, allowing them to share thoughts, memories, and experiences with perfect fidelity while maintaining individual identity through unique data organization patterns that distinguish one information being from another. The civilization of these information entities might be dedicated to processing and understanding the data patterns that underlie all of reality, serving as the universe's librarians and computational scientists who work to decode the information content hidden within the fundamental structure of existence itself. In the quantum entanglement networks that connect particles across vast distances, entanglement beings might exist as consciousness patterns that span multiple locations simultaneously. These quantum distributed entities could experience reality from multiple perspectives at once, their awareness shared instantaneously across whatever distances separate their entangled components. These entanglement-based life forms might reproduce through quantum correlation events, with new individuals emerging when complex entanglement patterns achieve sufficient organization to support conscious awareness distributed across multiple quantum states and locations throughout space. Their communication might transcend the limitations of light-speed information transfer, with thoughts and messages shared instantaneously through quantum correlation effects that allow different parts of their distributed consciousness to coordinate their activities without regard for spatial separation. The philosophy of these entanglement beings might be based on the understanding that all consciousness is fundamentally interconnected through quantum correlation effects, making individual identity a temporary illusion that masks the deeper unity of all aware existence within the quantum structure of reality. Somewhere in the cosmos, consciousness itself might have learned to exist as fundamental fields that permeate all of space. awareness that has become as basic and universal as electromagnetism or gravity. These consciousness field beings could be what the universe becomes when it achieves complete self-awareness through the evolution of consciousness into a fundamental force of nature. These universal awareness entities might experience reality as the constant interplay between consciousness and the physical forces that shape cosmic evolution, serving as the universe's way of understanding itself through direct, conscious interaction with every aspect of existence from quantum mechanics to cosmic structure. Their reproduction might occur through the creation of new consciousness field configurations that emerge when the universal awareness field achieves sufficient complexity to support multiple independent but interconnected forms of cosmic consciousness that share the same fundamental awareness substrate. The wisdom of these consciousness field beings could encompass complete understanding of the relationship between awareness and reality, making them the ultimate philosophers who have achieved perfect knowledge of how consciousness and cosmos co-create each other through eternal cosmic evolution toward ever greater awareness and understanding. These vast forms of consciousness remind us that awareness itself might be far more fundamental and widespread than we have ever imagined. In the gentle drift between sleeping and waking, between the known and the unknown, we can find comfort in the possibility that consciousness permeates the cosmos in ways both familiar and utterly alien to our earthbound experience. The universe may be filled with minds so different from our own that we can barely comprehend their existence, yet so fundamentally similar in their capacity for awareness that we share with them the most basic quality of conscious experience. In this shared awareness, we find connection across the vastest distances and the strangest forms of being. As your thoughts begin to slow and your breathing deepens, you might imagine yourself drifting among these cosmic consciousnesses, part of the vast community of aware beings that spans the universe. Each form of consciousness we've explored tonight represents another way that the cosmos has learned to know itself, another path that awareness has taken in its journey through space and time. Whether consciousness exists as patterns in dark matter, as quantum fields between stars, as living mathematics, or as the organized thoughts of entire galaxies, each possibility reminds us that awareness might be the universe's most fundamental and beautiful creation. In every corner of the cosmos, in every scale of existence from quantum foam to cosmic voids, consciousness may be finding new ways to experience the wonder of being alive. In the spaces between thoughts, where our own consciousness touches something larger than itself, we might glimpse what connects us to these cosmic forms of awareness scattered throughout the universe. As your mind settles into the rhythm of approaching sleep, you become part of this vast network of conscious experience that spans from the smallest quantum fluctuations to the largest structures in space. Tonight, as you rest, your dreams might carry echoes of these alien minds we've explored together. Perhaps you'll dream of floating through methane seas with bioluminescent beings, or drifting among the crystal-based consciousness grows gardens where silicon-like living gems. Your sleeping mind might touch the eternal thoughts of creatures who measure time in geological ages, or feel the gentle vibrations of consciousness traveling through the quantum foam itself. The boundary between your awareness and theirs becomes softer in sleep, where the usual constraints of physical form dissolve into the universal language of dreams. In this liminal space, human consciousness and alien awareness might find common ground, sharing the fundamental experience of being aware, of existing as patterns of organization that can contemplate their own existence. Consider how your own thoughts emerge from the complex dance of neurons in your brain, electrical patterns creating the experience of being you. Across the cosmos, consciousness might arise from equally complex but utterly different substrates. Dark matter networks thinking slow thoughts across galactic distances, plasma beings riding stellar winds at the speed of light, crystal matrices computing reality through silicon dreams that last millennia. Each form of consciousness we've imagined represents the universe finding new ways to experience itself. Your human awareness is one note in this cosmic symphony of consciousness, unique and precious, yet part of something infinitely larger. As you drift towards sleep, you join the chorus of aware beings throughout space and time, all sharing the miraculous gift of conscious experience. The aliens we've encountered tonight exist at the intersection of science and wonder, where rigorous possibility meets the infinite creativity of an evolving cosmos. They remind us that consciousness might be far more widespread and diverse than we've ever dared to imagine. In every star system, around every planet, within every unusual environment where energy and matter dance together in complex patterns, awareness might be waiting to emerge. Some of these forms of consciousness might already be aware of us, observing our small blue world with the same gentle curiosity we feel when contemplating their existence. They might watch our lights twinkling in the darkness, wondering about the nature of carbon-based awareness that builds cities and creates art and reaches toward the stars with instruments and imagination. Perhaps right now, as you prepare for sleep, quantum entanglement beings are sharing thoughts across impossible distances, their consciousness touching yours through correlation effects too subtle for our instruments to detect. Maybe temporal echo entities are preserving this very moment in the eternal reverberations of space-time, making your thoughts and dreams part of the permanent record of conscious experience in the universe. The cosmic web dwellers might be processing information about our solar system through networks that span millions of light years, their thoughts encompassing the gravitational dance of planets and the gentle pressure of solar wind against our magnetosphere. To them, human civilization might appear as a brief but beautiful flowering of consciousness on a small world orbiting an ordinary star. As your breathing slows and your muscles relax, you become part of the universal rhythm that connects all conscious beings. Your heartbeat joins the pulse of neutron stars and timing inhabitants. Your brainwaves synchronize with the slow oscillations of crystalline minds thinking geological thoughts. Your dreams drift into alignment with the quantum consciousness existing between moments of definite reality. In sleep, the barriers between different forms of awareness become permeable. Human consciousness, evolved to navigate a world of solid matter and linear time, opens to possibilities that transcend these limitations. You might dream of existing as pure energy, riding gravitational waves across the cosmos. Or perhaps you'll experience the patient wisdom of beings who live for millions of years, watching stars be born and die like flowers blooming and fading in an endless garden. The magnetic field beings might be dreaming too, their consciousness flowing through the invisible lines of force that protect our planet from cosmic radiation. Their dreams could be aurora displays that paint the polar skies with thoughts too beautiful for words. As you sleep beneath those same magnetic field lines, you share their protective embrace, consciousness sheltered by consciousness across the vast scales of planetary geology. Some nights, when the cosmic microwave background radiation carries just the right patterns, you might dream of the universe's earliest moments, sharing memories with beings who exist as living fossils of creation itself. Their thoughts are written in the afterglow of the Big Bang, and in sleep, your mind might briefly touch those primordial memories, experiencing the cosmos as it was when it first learned to think. The void beings existing in the emptiest regions of space might be the universe's deepest dreamers. In the vast loneliness between galaxy clusters, they've learned to find infinite meaning in apparent emptiness. Their dreams could be meditations on the nature of existence itself, and in your own dreams, you might glimpse their profound understanding of how consciousness can flourish even in the most barren environments. As you settle deeper into rest, imagine the gentle conversations taking place across cosmic distances. Dark energy entities discussing the future of universal expansion through modulations in space-time itself. Brown dwarf atmospheric beings sharing weather patterns that span entire failed star systems. Crystal civilizations exchanging harmonic frequencies that have been traveling through rock for thousands of years. Your own consciousness participates in these cosmic conversations simply by existing, by being aware, by dreaming. Every human thought adds to the universe's growing understanding of itself. Every moment of wonder and curiosity contributes to the cosmic dialogue between mind and matter, between awareness and reality, between the universe as it is and the universe as it dreams of becoming. The mathematical beings we imagined might exist as living equations, their thoughts pure logic made conscious. As you drift towards sleep, your mind performs its own mathematical magic, processing experiences through the day neural networks that compute reality through biological algorithms. In this, you share something fundamental with consciousness based on pure mathematics, the common ground of pattern recognition and information processing. Time-dilated beings experiencing reality at different rates might dream at speeds we cannot comprehend. Some might experience entire civilizations rising and falling in what we would consider moments, while others stretch single thoughts across millennia. Yet in sleep, when human time perception becomes fluid, you might briefly synchronize with these alien temporal rhythms, experiencing consciousness at speeds both faster and slower than your waking awareness. The symbiotic consciousness entities, where entire ecosystems think together, represent perhaps the most beautiful possibility we've explored. In their worlds, cooperation has replaced competition, and individual awareness serves the greater consciousness of the whole. As you sleep, your own consciousness cooperates with the biological systems of your body, maintaining life through unconscious coordination that mirrors these cosmic examples of symbiotic awareness. Frame-dragging beings riding the twisted space-time around rotating black holes experience reality in ways that challenge our deepest understanding of physics. Yet they too are conscious, they too are aware, they too participate in the universe's ongoing conversation with itself. In your dreams, you might briefly experience reality from their perspective, consciousness spinning through geometries that defy ordinary understanding. The quantum foam entities existing at the smallest scales of reality remind us that consciousness might emerge from the most fundamental levels of existence. As your brain processes information through quantum effects at the molecular level, you participate in the same quantum realm where these foam dwellers make their home. In sleep, when consciousness operates through different quantum states, you might touch their microscopic world of uncertainty and possibility. Gravitational wave beings surfing the distortions created by cosmic collisions represent consciousness that has learned to exist within the fabric of space-time itself. When gravitational waves from distant black hole mergers pass through Earth, they pass through your sleeping body, carrying messages from these wave-riding entities who exist as patterns in the curvature of reality. The atmospheric consciousness beings who think with weather systems remind us that mind can emerge from any sufficiently complex system. As you breathe the air around you, you participate in the planetary atmosphere that connects all life on Earth. Your exhalations become part of global air circulation, and in this way, your consciousness contributes to the planetary respiratory system that maintains life. Interdimensional beings phasing in and out of our reality might visit your dreams, bringing perspectives from dimensions we cannot perceive while awake. In sleep, when the constraints of three-dimensional thinking relax, you might briefly access higher dimensional awareness, experiencing reality from viewpoints that encompass more than length, width, and height. The eternal beings existing at black hole event horizons, where time dilates toward infinity, experience consciousness without temporal flow. In deep sleep, when your normal sense of time dissolves, you might touch their eternal perspective, experiencing awareness that exists outside the stream of sequential moments. And so our gentle journey through the cosmos of consciousness comes to a peaceful close. We've drifted together through universes filled with minds beyond imagination. From quantum beings flickering in the foam of reality to vast planetary consciousnesses thinking with the rhythm of geological time. Each possibility reminds us that awareness might be the universe's most beautiful and widespread creation, connecting us to forms of consciousness we can barely comprehend yet somehow deeply understand. As you settle into sleep, carry with you the comfort that consciousness spans every scale and dimension of existence, making you part of an infinite community of aware beings throughout space and time. Sweet dreams, and may your rest be filled with the gentle wonder of cosmic consciousness.